Hi, Emily.
Hello, Kino. Good to finally
How are
meet
you?
you.
Yeah, finally, finally. Like you can't pin it down to a time frame when you will finally meet someone whose name just keeps popping up all the time.
Yes. Yeah. I was hoping we were going to meet you here in Hollywood for the Writers of the Future Gala. At some point, you'll make it over here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know about that.
Oh, yes.
hopefully, hopefully, the next time around I will make it there. But
Sure will be
what can I
fantastic.
say?
Yes.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I was looking forward to it, but it is what it is. You know, current
You think?
situations that's going on globally. Yeah, we just have to, take the hit, move on, and just hope for a more optimistic future ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Emily Goodwin, welcome to the show. So, I only found out now, before we could come in, it was Goodwin. So, where does Jones fit in?
Oh, that's my maiden name. But a lot of people knew me
Me
from
too.
that before. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for listeners, and of course for myself, Goodwin is very familiar when it comes to the show
Mm-hmm.
because John Goodwin has joined me, for amazing chats
Yep. John's my
over the
husband.
last 2 years. So yeah, that's where I was going next. You know what? The
Yeah.
relation.
Yes.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
So, how has your day been? I know you've just gotten back to Los Angeles. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. So, I've been setting up and getting some interviews shot with different people for Writers of the Future. We're putting a documentary together. So, I did a little bit of traveling and, yeah, so I just got back this morning. It's early here in Hollywood, California. So, we're still the morning. You can see the sun is up. And I know for you, it's later in the day.
Yeah, yeah, it is 2 minutes past 7. Perfect time
Okay.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Emily, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's great to be here.
So, let's jump straight into it. As always, I love to start off the show with getting to know you better. So, you have a lot of years of experience in the book industry business. Yeah, you VP of Author Services at Galaxy Press. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm. Yeah, so
Correct.
here we are, we have author services in Galaxy Press, work together here in the building. Galaxy Press is the publishing the name of the publisher, and then Author Services is the name of the literary agency. So, I represent both public affairs for both of those.
Okay. So tell us about your day one before the book industry, before Writers of the Future, before Galaxy,
For all of that.
and yeah, before all of that. Where did it all start for you?
It all started in Canada. That's where I come from. So, I originally was born in Canada. Long time ago. Well, don't give away too much.
You don't
But
look that old.
it was back in the 1970s. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I was born in Canada originally, and then my family moved to the States in the 1980s. So I came with them. I lived in Florida for about 10 years. And I remember I came over to Los Angeles. I guess that was in 1999, and I got a tour of this building that I'm in here at Author Services. And I remember I got a tour of the, Writers of the Future lounge, and I wasn't working here yet. This was in the '90s still, and, I was like and I saw the Hubbard library, and I had already read some of Hubbard's fiction books like Battlefield Earth and Fear, a couple other of his fiction works, and so I was a fan already of the Hubbard fiction, and I didn't know too much about Writers of the Future. Anyway, I got a tour of the lounge there. Super moved by it. I went off and I was working elsewhere before that, and then I like 8 years later, 7 years later, something like that, I came back, 2006, 7, came back to Author Services and started working here full time. So I traveled around a bit, um, did some other random, back when I was younger, I in fact started doing some modeling before getting into publishing. And that was a very long time ago. And yeah, so then I made my way into publishing and I've been here since. So it's one of
That's
us.
a wild transition
I
from
know.
modeling into the bucket list.
So I started on this side of the camera, and then later now I'm behind the camera. I don't have to worry, except now I am physically sitting in front of this camera, but mostly I work on the other side now.
Well, I guess the modeling can be a benefit, when it comes to the contest, because you need to model on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That was old school
Please
though.
welcome Emily Goodwin.
Yeah. Walk out. Yeah, no. Yeah, so now I prefer to be on the other side and doing the planning and running, I don't run the cameras myself. I can, but I have a team that comes and helps produce the events and um, you know, did the online workshop where I work with authors. I work with authors a lot and I do a lot of I get them booked for their signings, I do events with them. I get, the winners for Writers of the Future on their signing tours and out to conventions and all kinds of things. And I work with authors. That's what I do, and then I produce the events.
Nice.
Yeah.
And back in the day, when all the modeling was happening,
Why?
and you were like finding yourself, did you have like a passion for books itself that led
I did
you
like to
or
read.
no?
It wasn't as strong of a passion because the more I read, the more I got into it. I did like science fiction and fantasy books. So like I said, I had read Battlefield Earth and some of the Hubbard fiction books, and I had read some Ender's Game and some of the old vampire stuff when I was a teenager. So I was into books. I was also into athleticism. So it was a bit of a balance. I think I was not because I was very active. I was also a gymnast earlier on, and so I was really into moving and active. And then after that settled down, then I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not bouncing off of everything, so I can sit and read a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's a lesson in life, You
mhm.
never know who you're meant to be. And it's
Yeah.
okay, you know? And be at any age where it's like, okay, yeah, this is what I love. This is what I want to do. This is what I see myself doing, you know,
Mhm.
until the end. This
Yeah.
age. I mean, I've been through that myself as well. You go through this and this and this, and you're like, okay, I love this hat. I want this
Yeah.
hat on all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Emily, refresh my memory, okay, not really mine, but the listener's memory,
Mhm.
because you mentioned Hubbard. Who is L. Ron Hubbard?
Oh my. Can we book 5 episodes to discuss that? Because that's gonna be a lot. This man.
Hubbard, of
Um,
course.
yeah, I'll a quick summary. So L. Ron Hubbard, I mean, he started out as an author back in the 1930s and 40s. He was a famous pulp fiction author. He wrote in every genre, and he had a massive output. He could write so fast. And so in the 30s and 40s, in the pulp magazines, he was just churning out a ton of stories in adventure and western, a little bit of romance even, and then he went into science fiction and fantasy, and so he was writing under 15 pen names. So sometimes and that was so that he could be in the magazine more than once because, as I said, he wrote so fast that he had all this output. So he had tons of stories, and so he could be in a magazine twice just under this name and under that name. And some of the famous authors from the pulp era are L. Ron Hubbard, just under different pen names. So, like in the Westerns, one of his pen names was Winchester Remington Colt, which is all names of guns, but, which is all those old Western guns. Uh, so he wrote and wrote, and there are hundreds of stories of his, and Galaxy Press still publishes those today. Then he went on, and while he was writing, he was researching man, and he wrote the book Dianetics, which then evolved, and he basically developed all of Scientology. He was the founder, and way later, back in the 1980s, he went back to writing. He wrote Battlefield Earth, Mission Earth. They were all New York Times bestsellers. And he was a humanitarian. The amount of things that he did and programs that he came up with. There's one on drug rehabilitation, one on criminal reform. There's all these programs that even the church runs on human rights and drug prevention and a moral rights guide, way to happiness. It's a non-religious guide. And education. He did a lot on education. So he had a very broad spectrum, this man. So here at Galaxy Press, we represent his fiction literary work. So we are, the church has all of his spiritual and self-help books, whereas Galaxy Press, we have the rights to publish his fiction works. And then we also do the Writers of the Future, where we publish 12 authors and 12 illustrators every year new. They have to be amateur, and we publish those every year in addition to that. So that's kind of a very broad overview, but yes. He was born here in
the description.
What's that?
It's an impactful description, even though you summed up his life and his work. I mean, that was impactful. That's a big wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next time I'll do the podcast. We'll do it on a phone, so I can take you on a tour of the library downstairs, which has all the aspects of his life, which is fascinating.
Yeah. And you mentioned church. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was the founder of the Church of Scientology.
That's correct. Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And that the church itself, I know very well. It's still active. John has also shared, a lot about that. And the churches in South Africa and so on. So I mean that is active and continues to grow.
Yeah, they have a big castle over there, which is stunning. I have not been there. I would love to visit it. It is just amazing. I think it's Gauteng. Is that how you pronounce that?
Gauteng, yeah. So so there's one in so Gauteng is the province, Johannesburg, where I'm based. I know there's one here. And I remember once also John sent me the new one that was built in Cape Town. He sent me the pictures of the opening. Yeah. Cool, 100%. And don't shoot me for this. If you could shoot someone through the screen. So I purchased his Dianetics book, but I haven't gotten to reading it yet. So don't shoot me. But I'm getting there. I'm getting
that was the first one that kind of started it all off. Dianetics, Yeah.
No, I'm keen to, get to it as soon as possible. When you have so many books, probably more than you can read in your entire lifetime, and you're like, okay, this one, then we'll get to that one, then you'll get to that one. No, but thanks for summing it up. So how did now we get to Hubbard and Writers of the Future? What's the connection?
Good question. Okay, so really it goes back to 1940 because in addition to all of those things I talked about L. Ron Hubbard, he was a member of the very prestigious Explorers Club out of New York City, where they had the explorers. And he was doing an expedition for the Explorers Club in 1940, where he was helping map the coastline over by Alaska. So he was up on a boat. He ended up in Alaska. And he was on a radio show called KGBU. And he was on the radio every day, kind of like you, doing the shows. But they didn't have podcasts back then. It was radio. And he did a show, and he started a competition at that time because that's at the time when he was just publishing continuously as an author, and he was a very known name in the writing world. So he started a contest called the Golden Pen Award on the radio channel at KGBU, and he would have people send stories in, and the person who won, he would introduce to his agent. So that's kind of started it all back in 1940. Then he did his religious works. Then in 1980, he wrote Battlefield Earth, and then he wrote Mission Earth. It was a 10-volume set. And all of those, the Battlefield Earth and all 10 volumes of Mission Earth, were all New York Times bestsellers. So he kind of came back into the writing scene. And at that point, when he did those books, he started a competition. He got with his buddies who were all the big best-selling, big known authors like Frank Herbert from Dune, you know, gosh, Jack Williamson. There was a lot of these big name, Aldous Budrys, these authors that he got together and he said, let's do a competition for new budding authors because it's very difficult to break into the field. So he started this competition for new authors, and it was science fiction and fantasy only, and they had to be amateur to enter. And he basically funded the contest, and the judges people would send their stories in, short stories, and these judges would look at them and decide who are the winners for the year. So the best-selling authors were now saying, okay, this is the new talent that's the up and coming guys, and these are the ones that we're going to publish. And so every year there was an anthology published, and then it just grew and grew, and still to this day, 42 years later, we're on volume 43 now. We still have big best-selling authors, and they judge the stories that come in. And though Hubbard is no longer alive and with us, still, like when we sell the anthologies or his books, the money goes to the estate, and then we get the funds for from the royalties to help launch the careers for the new authors. So the legacy has been left behind, and we continue it to this day, and it still works amazing. And we publish new authors and illustrators every year. And it just started back when he returned to his writing, and it was such a brilliant idea, and it's worked, and it has just grown over the years. So now we've published over 1,000 writers and illustrators through the contest.
Yeah. When you think about it, the reason he started it so long ago is the same reasoning for it to be alive today, because it's still a struggle for many authors and illustrators to break into the industry and actually make it for themselves.
Totally.
Some can say it's easier, maybe because there's less red tape to get into the industry, but some will say it's also harder to financially sustain yourself just being an author in 2026. So big ups to you, John, and the entire team for keeping this competition going, because, and I've mentioned this so many times, when chatting to John, it's needed. Such opportunities is needed.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be able to work on this because it's so easy. The foundation of it is there, and it's a program that works so well, and you just follow the program exactly, and it's just so easy to do. It's a lot of hard work, but it's easy. And also the publishing industry is constantly changing, and now you have all the self-publishing, but you still have the big 5 publishers. So it is a challenge to get published. I know, and now you have AI on top of it, and we do not.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
The big AI. Yeah, no, we do not accept AI. We still are very dedicated to the human creativity. An AI story reads very dry, very, and our judges can tell. They can tell if it's been written by AI. So if you're going to submit to the contest, it is free, but please don't submit AI. It's just, we are not trying to promote and encourage machinery. We want to encourage and promote still the human creativity, which is very important.
Yeah, and enhance people's, potential.
Absolutely.
What capable of actually doing, the correct way, which may seem harder for a lot, but it's the right way to go about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, AI is just like demotivating so many creators all around the world, because you sit there and you think to yourself, okay, it's going to take me this amount of time, this amount of months, up to maybe even a year and a half to put this book together. And then here's some clown who's using AI to generate books a day, and he's uploading it onto Amazon, as a money-making scheme. And then you just think to yourself, why bother? Why bother?
Yeah. Well, we definitely have hard rules on AI, and so we don't we don't encourage it. We don't accept it. So just if you're doing AI, please find another contest other than Writers of the Future, because you will be. And if you do happen to just make it through and you get found out later, it's really not good. It's just not. You won't have a future career in that for sure. So that's okay. Anyway, enough on that. But please don't submit AI. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, as a reader myself, you know, you want to read something that's organic. You want to feel that, you want to be part of that story, especially with sci-fi and sci-fi
Yeah.
fantasy. I mean, you want to be part of that journey, you know, with the characters in the book itself.
Exactly.
You know?
So true. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And
So, no, sorry, finish off.
I was just saying that the human aspect of it is people are coming up with the ideas. That's coming from their inspiration, and that's what we want.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, you have just concluded with Writers of the Future 42.
Mm-hmm.
And to my surprise, oh wow, there we go. You know,
There you go. Volume 42.
yeah, the moment with the covers. It's always great. So, question one, how did the contest to? And question two, which was also to my surprise, you got your first South African winner.
Yes.
Okay.
So exciting. Yeah. So we had a great year. Volume 42 is a very good anthology. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. The stories are fantastic. And yes, Dorothy de Kock is our first writer winner from South Africa. We have had a few illustrator winners in the past, but Dorothy is our first writer winner. She wrote a fantastic story called Thickly, which for her, she said, was based on actual people that she had met. Dorothy is an amazing woman. She flew out here for the week-long workshop, and she was here for the event. Anybody who wants to see Dorothy and her acceptance speech, you can go to writersofthefuture.com and you can see the event there and her go up on stage. And I can even show you the imagery that goes with her story. It was just incredible. And like I said, it was based on true events from around her. That is the this one here. That is the character from her story that was painted by Tracy Iyer, one of the illustrator winners for the contest. So that was also I just have to fit this in here. So that was a very special moment. There's an illustrator contest and a writer contest. I know John has explained this before, but anybody new listening, it's free for people to enter. Writers enter up to 15 or 17,000 words. The illustrators submit 3 pieces. So there's 2 contests running side by side. And when an illustrator wins, they get hired by Galaxy Press to illustrate one of the winning stories in the book. So Tracy illustrated the story for Dorothy. And when we had the art reveal, it was a very emotional meeting when they first met and saw the piece that goes with the story, and Dorothy was very emotional about it. And you can see pictures of that meeting on the blog at writersofthefuture.com. But that was a special moment of the week when they were here in Hollywood. But yeah, Dorothy is an amazing. She's from Bedford, South Africa. Or am I saying that right? Yeah.
I did see Bedford. I'm trying to put it down because you get like Bedford and then there'll be like, you know, a town after. So I've never put it down yet. Like, for example, like close to me is Bedford View. So, yeah, but I'll definitely, you know. Yeah. No, I'll definitely look into that.
Okay.
We could possibly ask each other the same question, yeah, you know. What does this mean for writers now in South Africa? You know, because Dorothy, correct, Dorothy, no?
Yeah,
That's
Dorothy.
correct, Dorothy.
Yeah.
You know, is probably seen now as such a huge inspiration, you know, because, you know, myself, you know, being a South African, growing up in South Africa, I know the struggle, you know, I've lived through it, you know. It's not easy and can become extremely demotivating. And I'm not just talking about the economy itself. I'm just, you know, about also what friends, family, that can say that's a waste of time, don't waste your energy and
Mm,
resources,
yeah.
and myself coming from, or still being in the music industry as well, I know the feeling,
Sure.
if I were to actually make it to Hollywood and,
No,
come out a winner, that's a big wow. It's a
it
big wow.
is.
And yeah, and I just hope, that, now that she's back here, she uses that, to inspire because
Mhm.
that's what we all try to do. That's what I, do my best to
Absolutely.
also do to say, guys, you can't do it. You can't make it.
Mhm.
If you want it, you
That's
have to
right.
want it. You
Yes.
know, there's no
That's
point.
so true.
Yeah, there's no part time. There's no full time. There's all time. You need to go all in on it. And psychological factor, with a lot of South African creators at the moment, and I get this a lot, still in 2026, I'm still getting this, is they still haven't burst that bubble,
Yeah.
to look outside the box. Now you got
Sure.
someone like Dorothy now who actually look outside the box, look outside the borders, just like I did many years ago.
Mhm.
And if I never, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation right now
Yeah.
to be like, hey, okay, if things are not working out for me here with getting a publisher, for example, or somebody to actually look at my work,
Mhm.
let me see what's going on in the States. Who can I network with there? And I'm sure that's exactly what she did and,
Mhm.
found you. And like, okay, cool, let me give this a shot. Why not?
Sure.
What do I really have to lose? You know what?
Yeah.
And then send it through. And here we go.
Absolutely. It's so true. Yeah, and she was persistent, and that's how she got what she got. The good thing about Writers of the Future is, one, it's free to submit, and you have to be amateur. So it's not like you're competing against Brandon Sanderson and Stephen King and Kevin J. Anderson and Nnedi Okorafor. Uh, but they're looking at your stories. So the best guys are looking at the stories and deciding who wins. It's up to 17,000 words. The illustration contest, it just has to be illustration. They submit 3 pieces. I know Dorothy, I'm pretty sure she submitted more than once. And there are some people, like we have, I think the record is 47 times somebody submitted to the contest. You can submit 4 times a year. So if you don't win, the first quarter of the year, you can submit in the second quarter. It breaks up 4 times a year. You can actually submit to the contest. And you can get honorable mention, you can get silver honorable mention. So even if you don't win, you might receive a certificate saying, hey, you've got talent. And that's a big boost. People can use that. They can put it on their website, on their social media, like, hey, look, I got a honorable mention in Writers of the Future. And that also helps if you're submitting to other publishers or editors, saying that you got an honorable mention or a finalist in Writers of the Future. They go, oh, well, this person has some talent that might go higher in the slush pile, for other editors, because the contest is very widely known. Um, but if you keep entering and you keep getting better and you keep getting better, and there's tools you can use also to improve your craft. So at writersofthefuture.com, you can go there and there's a whole online writing workshop, uh, that teaches you how to put a story together, from doing the research to, how do you write the beginning of the story, the middle, the end? How do you write dialogue? How do you write narration? How do you add suspense to your story? How do you add humor to your story? So there's videos on all of that stuff. And it's all done by the judges of Writers of the Future. So the people that are looking at the stories are telling you how to put a story together. So if you take their advice, you have a very good chance of winning. So that's something that I do highly recommend. Nnedi Okorafor, she is our Nigerian. I'm assuming you know who Nnedi Okorafor is. She's a Nigerian best-selling author of science fiction and fantasy, and amazing. And she's one of the judges of the contest. She also has one of the videos at the online workshop. So anybody can take that. We're putting something together for the illustrators right now. So we're trying to give them all. And then there's also a forum there at writersofthefuture.com where you can go and find other like-minded people. And you don't have to be living in the US to connect with other people in the US or Canada or the UK or wherever authors are all hanging out. You can go online there and they help each other. They look at each other's stories. There's networking. Sometimes the contest judges will go in there and do like an AMA, where they can answer questions for people. So that's a good place also to go, where you can say, like you said, what's happening over in the States. Well, that forum has people from all over the world, including South Africa and Australia and everywhere. And so anybody can go there and get networking and help with their stories. And so it's all around. I mean, we just try to do whatever we can to help launch careers for people. That's kind of like the whole purpose on that Writers and Illustrators of the Future, is to like give them that springboard, that step to like help launch the career out. And the prize money is very good, obviously.
Yeah, the importance of networking, that word has come up twice this week already on the show.
Yeah.
It's so critically important, to get out there and network in any way or form. It doesn't have to be in person, as we both know. Here online, find a community that works for you and, start interacting with those individuals. We have all done it.
For sure.
And then also, all that you have mentioned, how many times people have applied, entered. The importance of consistency. Be consistent and, trust in that divine timing. Because if you try once and you fail, there's a reason behind it. And it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Because for me, it's like the universe is trying to say, okay, now is not the time, to be dead, because you first need to learn A, B, C, D, E first, Life for me is like playing this video game, right? And now this is where I want to be. This is where my ambitions are, that's where my mind is right now. But there's levels I need to pass first to get,
Correct.
And I
Absolutely.
never understood it myself, with my own career. I never understood it until I was going through it. I'm like, yeah, if I never do that, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also it's true. And the more you do something and the more experience and the more practice, it's this way with writing, but with any field. Like in writing, you have to, the more you write, the better you're going to get. So if you keep writing, I know some people spend like, I'm going to spend 7 years writing this story and it's going to be the best, magnificent, most bestest story of all time. And so they put all their eggs in that basket. They spend years and years and then they try to sell it. That's one way of going about it. But if you talk to any of these best-selling authors, you talk to Brandon Sanderson, you talk to Kevin J. Anderson, you talk to any of the old guys, Isaac Asimov, any of them, they'll tell you, you have to write in order to get better. They always look back at their early stuff and they're like, oof, my goodness, how did that even sell? So with Writers of the Future, that's one of the things, like Kevin J. Anderson, who he writes the Dune sequels and prequels, and he worked on the Dune movies even. He talks about when he used to enter Writers of the Future before he became a professional best-selling author, he made a deadline, because or the contest is a deadline. It's like, okay, by the end of, like right now, the end of June is our next contest deadline. So he would say, okay, I'm going to get a story in this quarter, and he would get a story in, and he maybe didn't win. So then he did, okay, next quarter, I'm going to get a story in, and he always had a deadline. So he always kept writing until he got better and better and better and better. And then all of a sudden his novels started selling and he became a professional author. And now he sells millions of books. But it's having that determination and not just saying, well, my one masterpiece didn't do as I expected, so I must not be good. No, you have to keep writing. If you want to get better, you have to keep using that experience and keep getting better and better, as it is with anything in life. You need to keep it up, practice, experience, and be determined to get where you want to go.
Yeah, 100%. I've, spoken to authors that are releasing a new book in 2026 that's taken them, 8 to 10 years to write. But in the interim, they've written so many other bestsellers.
Good. Yeah, that's totally
They just
fine.
never stopped. They had that vision for that specific book, and they just took their time with that. But in between, they were also writing stuff which could take me 6 months to a year to actually put together and get it out there published, and it became a bestseller. Now, as you said, if you were waiting for that masterpiece, there's 10 years gone by that you could have been, doing other work, working on other genres, whatever, whatever
Yeah,
it be.
it's not always 100%, it's not 100% every time, take Andy Weir. He does a lot of research and puts a lot of work into each book. And each book he does is like gold. He does The Martian. Now he's got Hail Mary out. Now, they're doing Artemis, a movie for that one. So there's exceptions, but there's always going to be some exceptions. But in general, I have not spoken to an author that publishes and has best-selling books that doesn't say the more you write, the better you're going to get.
Yeah, 100%. So, what does the future look like for you with this contest?
Well, after 42 years, I'm hoping that it just keeps going and getting bigger. Each year, the contest gets bigger and bigger, and we get more and more entries every year, which tells me that it's something that people still want and people will still read it. We still sell thousands and thousands of these anthologies, so I know that people are reading the stories. I'm hoping to launch many, many more careers, and I'm still hoping that some of the people that have already been published go on and have bigger careers as well. So it's not like you win the contest once and we're like, all right, good luck. We sort of still do what we can to help with their careers. So I just emailed Dorothy last week because I'm trying to get some book signing set up with her and on some panels even for online conventions to talk about writing. So we still work with people. I think that because it's been growing every single year for the last, the last 20 years, every year has had more entries than the year before. So we actually have a little bar graph of it, and it just goes up and up and up and up, how many entries are coming in for the contest. So I'm hoping that it continues to grow. I'm hoping that we're able to continue differentiating with the human creativity and AI, and that we can continue finding the talent and giving a voice to people that wouldn't otherwise be having a voice to be able to be heard. Someone in South Africa maybe doesn't have the connections in the US to go get a publishing deal, but this is something you can find online and easily go get a publishing deal in the US and get connections and network and have people that are there that you can meet that will help, further your career after that. So I'm hoping that that continues. It's a very special contest, very near and dear to my heart, because it's always a pleasure to be able to work on this. And when you see somebody else's dreams come true, it's obviously extremely rewarding. So that's why we do it. We love working on it.
Yeah. No matter how good you are at something, you always going to need a coach. Let's take football stars as an example. The biggest names in the music industry or the book industry, they all have coaches. We all have coaches.
Sure.
So that's another purpose that you are doing extremely well, because I'm sure that you've seen throughout your lifetime being in the industry, someone writes the first book, it gets out there and it does well, then they just get back to old habits and, this is it for me. Okay, cool, one book's enough, instead of continuing,
Yeah.
with their craft. It does happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So refresh now everyone's memory on the quarters and how that works to enter.
Yeah. So the Writers and Illustrators of Future, it's a quarterly contest. So each quarter, so like the next one, like I mentioned, ends at the end of June. So then July 1st, the next quarter will start after that, and it will go till the end of September. And then the next quarter goes till the end of the year. And then the next quarter goes till the end of the March. And it just keeps going like that. So each quarter, somebody can submit a story to the contest, or on the illustrator contest, they submit 3 pieces of art. You're more likely to win the illustrator side if it's an actual illustration, and ideally something sci-fi fantasy related. Illustration as opposed to like a portrait. A portrait, you could draw an amazing portrait and you could be a great portrait artist, or you could draw an awesome flower or some such thing. But if it's an illustration, it tells a story. So that's just a little, hint on the illustrator side because it's an illustration contest. Like if you look at this piece here, we're talking, there's something going on here. You have these ladies and the fire and the dragon, and there's a volcano in the background, and there's something going on there. There's a story to it. So what's happening with these women, and what are they doing? They look like warriors. So there's something going on with it. So that's just on the illustrator side. On the writer side, it has to be science fiction, fantasy. So you have to have a speculative fiction element to your story. It's up to 17,000 words, and it's free to enter. And when you enter, you maintain the rights to your work. And then each quarter, there's going to be a first and a second and a third place winner. And those guys, each of them will get a cash prize for anywhere between $500 and $1,000. And then so that repeats every quarter. And at the end of the year, there's going to be 12 writers, because there's 3 from each quarter, and then 12 illustrators. So all 12 writers and all 12 illustrators all then get published in the anthology for the next year. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how it works. Like I said, you maintain the rights to your work. So you could take your story afterwards, you could submit it or publish it elsewhere or turn it into a novel and publish it. We only have a one-time publishing right. And then you also get, let's say your story, it's up to 17,000 words. So you also get paid pro rates for 8 cents per word for your story. And the illustrators will get paid for the illustration in the book as well. So it's good prize money. And then at the end of the year, when we have our big gala event in Hollywood, there's going to be, the judges will take all the top stories in the book and then the illustrations, and there'll be one grand prize writer winner and one grand prize illustrator winner. And they will get an additional check of $5,000 and this very big trophy. So that gets announced in Hollywood at the end of the year at the big gala event. But as I mentioned earlier, when L. Ron Hubbard started the contest in 1940, and I called it, he called it the Golden Pen Award is what he was doing. So the big trophy you get now when you win Writers of the Future is called the Golden Pen Award. So it's gone full circle back to like 1940. And we're continuing that legacy.
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, perfect. And if I want to enter the competition, step by step, what do I do?
It's very easy. If you want to enter the competition, you should go to writersofthefuture.com. And if you're going to enter the writer contest, there's a button right there on the left side that says enter writer contest. It's the illustrator contest. Right below that says enter illustrator contest. You just click on that. And if there's any question about the rules or about whether or not you qualify, then you can just click on that and read the rules again and make sure that you qualify. But you just fill out a form right there. You put your name, your email, and you fill out a form and you submit your story right there online. If you don't have a way to submit online, you can also mail that in to Writers of the Future. So that's another way you can do it. We get very few of those now. It used to all be back mailed in before the internet. But now, it's very easy to just submit your story online, and then you should hear back within 3 to 6 months max. And then if you don't win, then you submit another story. But I will recommend that if you're a writer and you're submitting, that you do go and take the online writing workshop, because a lot of people were submitting and not winning. And I don't know I want to get there and take that workshop so I can win. Because when you win the contest, you fly to Hollywood and you do a week-long workshop with the judges. But we actually took that workshop and took the basics from it, more of the craft part of it, not so much the business side of it, but the craft, and made a free online workshop. So if you go to writersofthefuture.com, you can go log in and take that free online workshop. And if you follow that, then, as long as you afterwards polish it up and fix your typos, but you should have a story that you can submit to the contest. It's very, very thorough in terms of telling you how to put your story together. So I do recommend that. Also signing up for the forum and finding out what other people are doing. Sometimes they, as soon as we start announcing winners, they sometimes get it in there first before the newsletter makes it out even. So, so I recommend you go do that. And also, I think I mentioned earlier, but it's judge blind. So when you submit your story, so that it's fair for everybody, it's blind judge. So that means that your story gets submitted, the name comes off, and what the judges see is only the story itself. So it's very fair. And there's not like, oh, my friend Joe is submitting to Writers of the Future. Let me pull his story out of the slush and move that one forward. There's none of that. They don't know who wrote the stories because the names get removed and just gets assigned a number, and the judges look at the actual story itself. So it's very fair.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
When you were explaining about the workshop, I'm thinking to myself, when you buy like a new TV, for example, not a TV because that's an easy setup, maybe a desk. You see a desk online, you order it, but then it comes in bits and pieces. And sometimes it can be human nature. There's a manual, but fuck it, I can do this myself. I don't need the manual. you know.
That
Yeah. So I understand, some writers out there, like, okay, here's Emily talking about the workshop, but I don't want to watch the workshop, or I'm fast forwarding, but I just want to get to the writing so I can submit. But it is important, because where you're probably falling short is mentioned in the workshop. And if you just master that or get that done, and sometimes it can be the smallest thing that you're doing wrong with your writing.
That's
And it's
right.
mentioned in the workshop, and then boom, here's it. You win.
Okay. Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you're super confident, then just go ahead and submit your story and see what happens. I'm not saying you have to take it, but if you're that confident, then awesome. This is just a tool to facilitate, to help you. It's not a requirement before somebody submits. It's there for people who want to improve their craft. So
Yeah. And guys and girls, once again, no AI, please. Yeah, like on the illustrator side, I mean, AI is getting so advanced. I mean, these judges have to like really know their stuff. But of course, there's tools available these days as well, you know. But then, how reliable is the tool to tell you, what's the difference?
yeah, there's
You have to be
certain
like real
things.
sharp.
Yeah, and there are certain things still as we are today that can help determine. I know like a lot of our judges, and Dan Dos Santos has a very good eye for AI. Echo Chernick, they've been doing art as a career for their entire lives. And so when they see AI, there's certain things about the way the edges are done and certain consistencies in the lines that kind of tell you like, okay, this is highly probable, and then they can investigate those ones separately. Joni from our office will take care of that. But it's better if people just don't submit, don't try and game it, because there's no pride in that. There's no pride in winning a contest that you did not do the work for. So we just, please don't.
Yeah, there's no easy work or easy money. Yeah, not in this business, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And volume 42 is available online.
Yes. Volume 42. It's available online, but you can also get it at Bargain Books there in South Africa. Yeah, volume 42. And if you're nearby Bedford, whichever Bedford, as you said, I don't know which Bedford that is.
I'm actually going to look into it, Yeah, which Bedford actually, it is.
Yeah, maybe we can get Dorothy to come on your show and talk about it a bit more, and tell people where they can come get a book autographed. But yeah, if you go to the it is available in some bookstores there. Let me see, I have it here. The bargain bookstores in South Africa. So you should be able to get the books there. And if they don't have it in that specific store, they should be able to order it for you. You can also go to the Bargain Books website and order the book there.
Okay. And the other thing is I got more international listeners than I do South African.
Oh, good.
Internet.
International. Just so you can get right there. We're in the US. You can go wherever books are sold. Yeah, England, you can go to Waterstones, you can go to Amazon. Most places you can go to Amazon and get the books. So wherever you are, you can just search writersoffuture.com. Sometimes they're shipping them straight from the US, but that obviously, depending on where you are, that can be costly. But the ebook should be available pretty much anywhere. And the ebook even has the full color art for the winners, so you're not missing out on anything.
Perfect.
And there's an audiobook as well. There is an audiobook for this, and it is very good. So
Nice.
if you do audiobooks, you can also check out the audiobook.
Yeah. I'll just, I'll share, where you can find it in South Africa.
Mhm.
And then, of course, Amazon, of course, is the standard link, that I always use for anybody that wants to order it online. I swear sometimes, I'm just in South Africa to sleep. But my whole life is like west or east. I'm in the center. I'm just here, but it's west to east. So yeah, thanks. But that's,
Nice.
yeah. But for anybody in South Africa that wants to get it, you can get the physical copy at Bargain Books, or you can just get it on Amazon. And if you can't afford the physical copy, as Emily said, you can get the Kindle version.
Mhm.
And but if someone like me who loves something physical in their hands when they're reading, then that's the avenue you have to take to actually get it. Emily, is there anything else that you would love to say?
Well, we're hoping to have a booth at the Africa Comic Con, and we will let you know. We'll give you a heads up, but I'm hoping to get a booth there and have Dorothy there to sign some books and possibly some of the earlier past winners. Steven Spinas was a winner. He was an illustrator winner. He's doing great now. So we'll just keep you posted on that. But that's that's in September.
That'll be cool. Yeah, please do. Please keep me posted on that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I encourage people to get their copies of the book, and and like he said, anywhere books are sold. Obviously, Amazon you can get pretty much anywhere. If you're in South Africa, you can get it Bargain Books. If you're in the USA and listening to this, you can get it at any Barnes and Noble or any bookstore, even the independents. Anybody can order the book in if they don't have it right there in the store, but a lot of them are carrying the book.
And suggestions if you're listening from Europe?
Again, Amazon, if you're in the UK, Waterstones. It's not translated at the moment, so it's not, you're not going to find it at the moment in French or Germany or other locations. But if you're reading in English, you should be able to find it online.
Perfect. There's there's someone who writes extremely well, and she's based in Indonesia, and her and I are like really close friends. And like she posted her latest blog today, and I was like, wow, this is so real and so deep. So I am going to also recommend that she also enters the competition.
Good idea. Yes.
Because, yeah.
I don't know that we've had a winner, a writer winner, especially from Indonesia. I'm looking forward to it. We'll fly you from wherever you are to Hollywood for this opportunity. So, I hope that person enters.
Yeah, no, I'm actually meeting with her on Saturday online, so I'm definitely going to mention it to her. And she has like such an emotional story to share. So she resides in Indonesia, but she's not from Indonesia. She's actually from Afghanistan. So she managed to escape the whole Taliban government, regime and so on going on there through sponsors that are based in Canada. And now she's in Indonesia finishing off her studies, and that's where she is planning to stay permanently. But she's such an amazing writer and so emotional. Like I was reading her latest blog today. I'm like, wow, and she's such an inspiration as well, saying that, freedom does exist, no matter where you may be in the world today, and what powers are suppressing you. So I am definitely going to, not only share the show with her, but of course I'm going to chat to her before this is uploaded. And I'm going to tell her, hey, please, look into this and, check out the workshop and please enter. Actually going to push her to enter.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, like I said, I don't see the stories until after the judges pick them, but love to read it.
Yeah, 100%. Emily, thank you so much. Are you personally on social media hanging out where people can interact with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. And otherwise, if you see me every probably fifth post on John Goodwin's Facebook page, but yeah. And otherwise, all the social medias for Writers of the Future are in my division. So if you go on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, TikTok, all of the Writers of the Future is within my division. I don't run them personally. We have somebody that does that full time. So, but you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And please give my regards to John. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on, and enjoy the rest of your day, and all the best for the next year ahead with 43.
Yes, thank you. All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, perfect. Okay, bye, Emily.
Bye-bye.